Hola from the west side. It is me, DCThePurpleDiva, and welcome to Not So Random Chat. Happy Sunday, y'all. And for those of y'all who are in the East, it's early Monday morning. Sorry I'm so late tonight, y'all. But I had a rehearsal earlier, so I couldn't jump on the platform. And I was on here for a long time today, just kind of listening and, really learning some information about some things that are going on. Hey, Matt. But Cyber Church this morning was really, really good. We talked about the sermon was I Command My Soul. And really just talking about that, the Most High is not the author of chaos or confusion. And, just really talking about some of the things that those of us who believe in a higher power should be really thinking about during this time that we're, homebound for the most part, even though the country is starting to open back up and other countries are starting to open back up. It's still never going to be the way it was before. I do not believe. Hey, uppity unicorn. David just left. I don't know where he went. He went upstairs. Hey, Darren. But it was good because, like, this weekend, I spent all day yesterday really trying to clean up around the house. I'm not done, but I'm really just trying to get everything in order so there's like no chaos anywhere, which is going to be, a challenge in an autism house because my son loves chaos. He's not one of those people on the autism spectrum that are OCD about everything being, clean and immaculate. He has his own sense of order that goes against everything in me. It is what it is. But yeah, Oscar the Grouch. He's like Oscar the Grouch. We think he might prefer living in a trash can than to living in the house, but just kidding. But not really. Oh, get the jinxie out. Shady unicorn. Oh, you guys. I'm just looking at what you guys are saying. Hey, Tutu, thing, aka Miss Pamela. But the message was really, really good. It was really just more about not being in a stagnant state. Even though you're not able to, assemble, and we technically are, our rights are being violated, as a country. But think about other countries where they don't have freedom of religion, period, much less a free to assemble in a religious way. With communist countries where they'll kill you if they find you congregating with the Bible, still don't be under the impression that that's not still happening. Please don't be under the impression it's not still happening. It is. I sure can. Give me 1 second. Let me I will drop the link. Let me grab my my mouse, because I never have it on my Mac, but I'm gonna bring it over here. Let me get my mouse. I sure can drop the link. Let me. Okay, what do I want to put? Okay, I pull this one out. Pull that one out. Yeah. Had to find a port. Okay, so I'm gonna drop the link in 1 second. All right, let me drop the link. Oh my gosh, look at that. All right, I just dropped the link into the chat. But it was a good message for people who are, I guess, I don't know, just out there kind of in a silo, so to speak, which a lot of us are in. And although it appears that we are starting to get to a better place in regards to what's going on with the physical health and the pandemic conditions, we're now about to flip the script because of people being isolated and not being able to socialize. And you guys, I've always said we are social creatures, even if we think we aren't. Oh, that wasn't okay. Let me try again. I don't know. What did I drop? Oh, sorry. That must be something that was. Oh, I see what that was. That's something that was in there. Okay, so let's try that. Okay, now that's the StreamYard. Now it says StreamYard. Sorry. But now we're about to flip the script, because just as our healthcare system was not prepared, we're about to deal with mental health issues. Hey Darren.
How you doing, sis? How you doing, man? My sister?
I'm doing good.
That's good. That's good. Thank you so much for dropping the link.
Oh, no worries. Yeah. And I mean, it's like you must have been reading my mind, because I'm about to talk about the fact that we're about to go into a mental health crisis in this country.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God, it's bad. I mean,
I'm like, you must have been reading my mind.
I'm all about the mental health thing. It's Mental Health Month, actually.
And that was exactly what I was going to bring up, and it's very apropos to talk about this during Mental Health Month. But the mental health part of our healthcare system is very underfunded, and they're not going to be able to handle all of the mental health issues that are starting to come about.
Apropos, that was a great word. I love that, man.
What did you say?
Apropos, a great word. That's a great word to use.
Yeah, I mean,
that's true, but it's true. It is true. And the thing is, is I was just talking to a guy in New Zealand, literally like maybe 10 minutes ago before you came on, and I was telling him about the castle doctrine that we have here in Indiana. And castle doctrine is like the stand your ground law on steroids. where
wow.
where we're actually able to protect ourselves against the police. So if you feel like a public official is going to threaten your life, your liberty, your home, if you're at home, or if you're in your car, if you're in your place of business or your job, you can respond with deadly force. So we have a right to assemble. And that's what a lot of people forget is, we do have a right to assemble. And when the government tries to say we can't do that, then it's overreaching. And I also mentioned to him that the people who you want to watch for to see how the government is moving into tyranny is you're going to watch the Black community. And the reason why is because we're the most over policed. We have the most impressions. If we want to put it like in like a digital marketing term, we have the most impressions. And because we have the most impressions, the chances for our conversions go up. And a conversion would be an interaction with the government, a government official. And to see, like we just had that guy here in Indianapolis, Sean Reed. My client actually has been retained by his family. But he had an interaction with the police, and the police killed him. And it was on Facebook Live. So
they did it on Facebook Live.
Yeah, he was.
Oh my God!
On Facebook Live when it happened. There's been a lot of things that happened in Indianapolis on Facebook Live that are really, really kind of, will show you what's going on with how the government is starting to overreach. Just really watch the Black community, man. And the thing is, really, and not to just ramble or kind of rant, but the thing is we have, as the Black community, we have the most undiagnosed mental health issues. How many of us? I remember doing a video where I talked about how many of us have actually, around the cluster of disorders, the cluster disorder where we're antisocial behavior, and that's built in. And you got this, these people who are all under this amazing, tremendous amount of pressure, who have a predisposition to an antisocial disorder. You're just going to push them right over the edge.
And we self-medicate. We will not go to we will not go to a doctor. We do not want to get a diagnosis.
Nope, not for nothing. Not for nothing. We want to pray it away. Like I'm bipolar 1. So, and I've been kind of watching what's going on with Clyde Diva and Suge, and she's bipolar 1 as well. So bipolar 1 in women is expressed a little differently than it is in men. It can get violent. As you know, if you see issues where women are burning up cars or going and breaking all the windows out of somebody's house or stuff like that, usually those women are bipolar 1. And it's an undiagnosed thing. And they've been self-medicating. Like that, you see, she sits and literally self-medicates the hell out of herself.
Left eye.
Exactly. And these women really need to their dopamine, their brain needs to be treated. It's just a broken chemical imbalance. And I remember before I got diagnosed, my mom was like, we're just gonna pray it away. We're just gonna pray about it. We're gonna pray about it. And I was like, well, prayer is doing something, but it's making me feel good, for now. But what about next week when I can't sleep for 3 days?
Yeah, my pastor is. I'm thankful that I go to a church where my pastor is not about that. I mean. Our church is designated as one of the mental health facilities in Los Angeles County, which is a feat for a Black church to do, or predominantly Black church to do. But it's for that very reason, because we are shamed into not going and finding out what's going on, whether we've got some chemical imbalance going on.
Look, we're just now dealing with autism. I mean, just now really kind of having an autism conversation.
Yep.
Let alone, moving down depression and, borderline disorders. Speaking of borderline, uppity, you shady, calling me Darian. So,
yeah.
but speaking of borderline disorders, bipolar disorders, all the, around the whole cluster of disorders, schizophrenia, we're just now addressing autism, and are understanding that it's not the same thing as a mental disorder.
It's not the same thing, and that's the thing is that you can have a person who has autism who also has mental health issues as well. That is a very big possibility, and it's because they're not processing things the same way. They don't express their emotions the same way, and so a lot of times you do have people that are on the spectrum that may, also fall into mental health issues. But I believe in some of those cases it's because of the medications that they keep giving these kids.
Mm-hmm.
And, and then when they're grown, they don't want to deal with the meds that they were given as kids. So they start self-medicating, but some of the side effects from some of those drugs, I think, bring on
oh my goodness,
the chemical imbalances in their systems, because we don't know what's going to your brain.
I literally take a pill, right? Mm-hmm. And I asked the doctor, what does this do? How does this work? And he said, I don't know. We just know it works. And I'm like, okay. Okay. But
they have no idea. It's no idea. That's why I always tell people, I said, medicine is not a science, even though they use scientific principles in practicing medicine, but it is really an art, because they can only diagnose things based on what they've already seen. If they've never seen it, they don't know.
Exactly. And my wife's a teacher, right? She's a soror as well. My wife's a teacher, man, and she teaches in the Title I district. And a lot of the kids, that's how they get their medicine, is at school. So now you have all these children who were being that's how they were getting their medicine. Now they, for the rest of the school year till sometime next year, to sometime in September, maybe even November, they won't get somebody who's actually, they won't get on schedule of receiving the medicine that they need. And a lot of these kids have some serious issues. And they go, if it's going untreated, then the behavior with a child, it's a lot different than an adult. Because a child, you're building the foundations of what is right and what is wrong. And if you have someone that sees, like me as somebody who's bipolar, I have to always check how I see the world, because I can see the world in a different way. And I'm able to base my upbringing against how the world should look.
Right.
Now, if I'm a child in the Title I district that hasn't had that same amount of upbringing, hasn't had those foundations put there, and has these disorders that are supposed to be medicated that are not being medicated, imagine what's going on right now to this whole generation of children who are in elementary school.
That's the thing that I was. That's one of the things that I was talking about, because I said, I don't know how parents are dealing with kids, especially kids who have some type of special need going on. I don't know. I don't even understand. And this past week, they did a virtual town hall for, with the caseworkers and the parents, all of us on this call, parents of adults as well as kids. And the caseworkers, their different sections are on there talking about the things and just trying to reassure, parents that what they need would be available, and that how they would help us to work through getting whatever our kids needed, during this time, because a lot of them have not been able to get to a doctor's office.
Yeah.
So if they can't get to the doctor's office, then they can't get they can't get a prescription.
Exactly. And my son has anxiety, and he was seeing a therapist, and they do a phone call.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. A lot of them, they're trying to do some of these things on teleconferences.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's really kind of scary, not to, but it is scary. And I just had a thought. A great upload for you would probably, I'm just kind of throwing it out there, would be how to deal with autism in the pandemic.
I was thinking about doing that. I have a couple of ones that I'm doing, like the one that I did was how I did one on things to do, with your teens and tween and young adults on the spectrum, you know, dealing with different activities that you could do together. But yeah, I have a couple more to do.
Oh yeah.
That definitely. Thank you for that. Thank you for that input. I will definitely incorporate that into the one I've already in the process of putting together.
Oh yeah, you're headed. I know you will, sis. I know you will. Yeah, you got to get with me though, so boy, I'm telling you, you could kill it because you're in a great market and you're a great lady, and you have an involved chat and involved following. So
I appreciate that. I'm just trying to, give knowledge and just really have, a chat when we're doing the live streams to be able to talk about anything. If they don't want to talk about autism, that's fine. But, I like tonight talking about mental health, because I'm just thinking about all of the people who are trying, to hold it together so that they don't go over the edge. And I talked about autism in the and suicide and autism last month, but I think now just in general, there's a lot of people out there that are, for all, not to be not PC, but they're flipping out.
Yeah. White folks don't know how to make it in this kind of pressure. I mean, the pressure, of being like a black man, you got to be able to grant it, And these white boys who, to be honest with you, a lot of them, they can't handle this pressure. They haven't figured out, how am I going to feed my family with no job, with no real prospects of a job, with no real prospects of income? How can I make that happen? And that pressure will do a couple things. Either like Dick Vitale said, it's going to make diamonds or it's going to bust pipes. And unfortunately, it's going to make diamonds. But when you make a lot of diamonds, you're going to bust a lot of pipes. And that's what we'll start witnessing. These pipes going to be busting left and right. And I don't know, me being a supporter of, we call it 45, me being a supporter of 45, I don't know how well they are prepared to deal with this issue.
I don't know if he's prepared for it at all, because one of the other things you have to think about also when you're talking about the mental health thing is that a lot of these people are acting out already, because you're seeing the domestic violence is going up.
Yep, sure is. I have clients who are criminal defense lawyers as well as family attorneys, and we're seeing instances of domestic violence are getting a lot of hits. There's a lot of arrests going on for domestic violence. There's a lot of divorces that are happening. So pipes are being busted.
That's what I'm saying. It's getting that. And the thing is that I don't know if that's one of the reasons why they're trying to push to open the country up, because the other thing is that, right now crime rates are down because, most people are staying in, and the police are vigilant. Let me just say, they are real vigilant right now. People might not think they are, but they're very vigilant right now.
Yeah.
They waiting for somebody to mess up. They want you to.
I would expect for property crimes, as soon as they start opening things up, property crimes like theft, robbery, those are going to really start going up, because people now can interact with each other and they're broke and they're under pressure. So, and with an over police system, we're going to start to see that bam, blow up. Those people are going to get locked up. They're going to get put in there. We're put into a confined space. And if anybody has the COVID-19 in there, then boom, just like tuberculosis spreads in the jails like it ain't nothing. Look for COVID-19 and just start taking off. As soon as they open this cup, as soon as they open it up, it's going to be a direct correlation between crime.
Right now, they're sending them home.
Yep.
But as they open up the country, people cannot have that guarantee that is going to continue to happen.
Yep. Facts.
They just can't. And right now, I know they keep going back and forth about another stimulus, and the amount of it's gone from one at one point they was like it was going to be $8,000, just straight 8,000. Now then they tried to get the 1,200 through. I think on Friday. That didn't go through because Nancy Pelosi's whatever she had a whole bunch of other stuff in there that nobody wanted to see.
She was trying to give illegal immigrants a check.
That's not. I mean, if it didn't happen on the last go round, why would you think it's going to happen on this one, Nancy?
I'm sorry. You know, I'm cool with giving Americans a check, but if you're not supposed to be here, I'm not okay with driving with inflation, with driving my tax rates and all that stuff for somebody who's not supposed to be here.
Now, I don't know if she's talking about the DACA ones or she's talking about everybody. I mean, DACA ones, I'm kind of on them. I'm kind of, on the fence because they didn't ask to be here. Mm-hmm. They were kids.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So on them, I'm kind of on the fence, and if they've been legally filing, paying taxes, then I would say they would be entitled to one. But I don't know with some of the other people, are they filed? I mean, did you file taxes?
Yeah.
Because, see, I didn't have to do anything.
Mm-hmm. Did they file taxes?
Money just appeared in my bank account because I filed my taxes last year. It wasn't dependent on my me filing for this year, and it didn't matter because my income didn't change that much, unfortunately.
I just got $10,900.
Huh?
So I said from SBA, I just got $10,900.
Yeah, because you have a business. So
exactly.
You and you know what? I'm gonna say you were one of the fortunate ones because a lot of small businesses did not get that money. Some of the big businesses that had no business, were getting that money.
Well, the second round, they're giving the second round. That's when you start to see things starting to free up, and Black people, if anything, get honed. Even if you're Black and you listening, or whoever, if you listen, you have a business. YouTube is a business. To tell you the truth. So you get a 1099. So, you can kind of look at that there too. So, just keeping it honest with you.
Yeah, and here's the thing: some of the bigger YouTubers could potentially get a SBA loan if they meet the criteria. Because I've seen in the past, people get an SBA loan to do a home improvement.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm just telling you guys, and I'm like, well, now what business did this person own that they were able to qualify for an SBA loan, and they only did a home improvement, and as far as I know, they didn't own any business. So I don't know. They had some business.
Yeah.
That I didn't know about.
You can always have, they had that home office where, you take those CSR phone calls, or something like that, or you build your little YouTube studio, you do your videos, let's say, you do a type of video you do videos on autism, and you see, and it's actually been affected, and the type of videos that you could do, that would actually will qualify you.
Yeah.
So I'm just, but if anything, y'all apply for it, and let them tell you no.
Listen to what Darren's saying, y'all. I'm telling you, he's giving y'all free knowledge.
Let them tell you no first, man.
People pay for this. I saw your post, I think it was this morning, where you were showing people how to build a website again.
Yeah. We built one in under an hour.
See? Telling y'all, if you are not subscribed to his channel, you are foolish.
Right.
I don't even know. I mean, because he's giving out so much knowledge for free.
Yeah.
On the channel. I mean, and then of course, if you want more than what he's doing on the channel, then you talk to him.
Yep. Yeah. That's it. So, but yeah, thank you so much for letting me come up, sis. I really appreciate it. Again, I'm always gonna come here and support.
I appreciate it, and it was so funny because you came up because I'm like, I'm going to talk about mental health because I don't think people understand that. People figure like they're wiping their brow right now. No, right now you need to be afraid that we are not going to be able to handle all the people who are losing their mind right now.
Yep. Exactly.
This is causing a lot, and I'm not just talking about people who are at home. I'm talking about it is causing mental health issues on the essential workers, healthcare workers as well. Seeing all these people dying in front of them.
Yeah.
That's messing them up in the head. A lot of them. You've already had someone commit suicide.
That you know of. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I know suicide calls in Indiana have gone from around 1,000 a month to 10,000. There's over 10,000 calls now going on the suicide hotline. I used to work on the suicide hotline, and I could only imagine how these people are handling it. You know, the volunteers are handling it.
Nationwide. It's increasing, and I really don't think it's just in our country, because we're not the only country that locked their citizens in, you know, and violated their personal freedom rights, so to speak. But I just think, I'm just focusing on what's going on here where we are, and I'm just thinking that it's going to be a crazy summer.
Oh yeah, literally, literally a crazy summer. I mean, people can't even go to a park.
Pun intended, y'all. Pun intended.
You know, if you can't even go to a park now. I mean, I think that where they just started opening parks up again or beaches.
Yeah, that's only if you're going and walking trails. You still, I mean, the kind of stuff that we like to do, like play basketball. Well, you can't play that and be 6 feet apart, can you?
No beer whiz, no spade. Like Constance was saying, no spades, no dominoes, no barbecues. No barbecue, family barbecues, family reunions, beer whiz game. That's stuff that we would use to be able to process all of our mental health issues. Even if we don't go to not able to go to a doctor, we're able to talk to other family members and to be able to support each other with reach out in that support network. And it's not there; it's gone.
Yeah, I mean, and I do know that a lot of people are starting to use like Zoom and things like the house party app to do virtual parties.
Yeah.
And I think that is helpful, but not everybody is tech savvy or comfortable with that kind of stuff, and it makes them feel isolated. Especially people who have had to obey stay-at-home orders and they live alone.
Yeah. Is what's cool, and I think it's kind of funny is my mother finally got on the Facebook. That's what she calls it. So today I got an invite, a Facebook invite from her. So I'm like, okay, now I know things and really change. If my mother gets on Facebook, this is a woman who on her LinkedIn profile, she just put her picture and said, I don't want everybody knowing my business. So to see her on Facebook, what's that?
I said, that's funny.
To see her get on Facebook, to be able to connect with people.
My dad is not on Facebook. My dad is barely on LinkedIn. And I think he's barely on LinkedIn because he's still working. But he doesn't do social media at all. His wife does, but he doesn't.
Yeah. Well, I just had a guy in Australia hit me. Literally, a guy just hit me. So I have to roll. I'm going to be still listening in. So
okay.
Thank you so much for letting me
up there.
All right, then. Peace out.
All right.
Hey, tell David I say hello.
I will.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Yeah, you guys. It is May. It is Mental Health Month. And what I was going to share is a little bit from let me see if I can find it. I think I still have it up. From a article that was in the Washington Post today. And it's let's see. It's in the Washington Post, and it's by William Wan. 3 months into the corona pandemic, the country is on the verge of another health crisis, with daily doses of death, isolation, and fear generating widespread psychological trauma. Federal agencies and experts warn that a historic wave of mental health problems is approaching: depression, substance abuse, post-traumatic stress disorder, and suicide. And I mean, we all know, I mean, I've talked about this jokingly, but it is a reality. Alcohol consumption has increased across the country, not just in California. You know, people are buying alcohol, and then in states like California, where it is legal, they are buying up cannabis. And so yeah, they probably are. There probably is some truth to the substance abuse, because think about it. While we are locked in our homes, all of the bars, you know, and restaurants and social places that people would partake of libations are not there. So people are drinking at home, and many people are drinking alone. And if they, if they smoke or eat, if they're doing edibles, they're probably doing that alone as well. So it's just, I don't really think that our way underfunded mental health system is going to be able to deal with this. Let me just see. I'm going to find another part, the other part I wanted to give you guys in regards to this. Okay, just as the initial outbreak of the novel coronavirus caught hospitals unprepared, the United States mental health system, vastly underfunded, just what I said, fragmented, said it's broken, and difficult to access before the pandemic, is even less prepared to handle this coming surge. Because think about it. I'll just speak about within the Black community. In the Black community, it is not just my opinion, it's pretty much a proven unfortunate fact that we tend to self-medicate versus going to get any type of treatment to find out if there's any type of chemical imbalance, because we don't want to be perceived as being crazy. Going to therapists is a very hush thing, even now, 2020. And you would think that with the emphasis that is put on mental health, not just in May, because there's other times of the year where they put a lot of emphasis on mental health, that there will be more access to it, but there really isn't, because even though there are a lot of people that may try to seek help, they don't know where to start. Like here in the county that I'm in, they have a specific number that you can call in regards to mental health. I know the one for social services is 211. It's something like that. It's a number that they call, and then they can get referred out to places where you can get services where it is based on income or where they're free of charge. But if you don't know who to ask, then you don't know how to access these services. And I can tell you just from my own personal experience of having dealt with that when I had just gone through breaking up with my ex-husband, my son's father, and was going through a lengthy divorce for no reason. I put myself into counseling because I have the stress of being the caregiver for my son and working a full-time job. And then my mom had at that time come to California. And so now I'm dealing with my mom and I'm dealing with my son and I'm dealing with, getting a divorce from my ex-husband. And I literally physically started to have symptoms. They thought I had lupus because I was so stressed. So I put myself into therapy. And the only reason that I did it was because my pastor just looked at me one Sunday and said, you need to go talk to somebody. You just need to go talk to somebody before you lose your mind. She could just see it on me. So obviously my mask that everything's okay wasn't working. And I can only imagine how some people are feeling right now where they're, isolated from their friends. And yeah, FaceTiming or doing the Google Duo, or doing, some of those apps or doing Zoom so that you can talk to people are great, and they help for a lot of people, but that is not the same as actual physical interaction with other people. It's not the same thing, and even though, yeah, there are people, there are some people who are antisocial and then they're fine if they are by themselves. But for the most part, we as human beings crave being with other human beings, even if we may, habitate by ourselves, we still need to have the ability to be with other people if we want to. And right now, a lot of people want to be around other people and they can't be because of what's going on. That's one of the reasons why I really think we're having a lot of this rebellion, that had been going on. It was less about people wanting to go back to work, and more about them not liking the fact that they could not be around other people in close contact. Even though we know that may cause some people to not be here. That urge to be around other people is greater for a lot of people because they can't handle being alone. And I really think that as we come out of this, that it's going to be hard for some people because the new normal is not going to look like the old normal. Like I said before, people are going to pick for probably the foreseeable future specific groups of people that they will be around, and it won't be everybody that they were around before. It's going to be before COVID-19 behavior and after COVID-19 behavior, because we all know that this is not going away. It's going to be around. And, you know, I've heard other people say this on and off of social media, that they don't even believe that it first got here this, you know, in the United States in 2020. They believe that it had already started, you know, here before that, you know, late last year. And that it started to have more precedence. Because I went back, you know, as I've been doing my playing my playlist of my live streams on my other channel. And the first day that I started talking about this was on January 31st. It was the week after Kobe Bryant died. So we started to really talk about it in January, in late January. But in my mind, I remember people were talking about it probably a little earlier than that, but that's when people started paying attention to it, but we weren't really paying attention to it, you know, but we were concerned. And then fast forward to March, and it's a whole new world. Whole new world. And I honestly believe that it's going to continue to be a new world. I don't think that it's going to be so much that the governments are going to dictate it as much as our behaviors are going to change, and that's going to dictate it. Because I don't think people are going to feel comfortable being around a lot of people for a while. They just aren't, because we already are now knowing or having to live with the assumption that everybody has it, because there's so many people who are asymptomatic, no symptoms at all, but somehow they have it or had it, but never displayed any symptoms. Isn't that interesting? Oh, so we had a hater. Hey, Angel. We had a hater in the chat. Thank you for getting them, Terry. Yeah, we don't do hating up in here. And they decided to come towards the end. We're talking about mental health. I'm telling you, it doesn't even matter. You know, but again, it's a concern for me. You know, I'll say in the state that I live in, because with things that have happened and specifically here in the state of California, and all of the cuts that they are anticipating, they're not going to put any more money into mental health. And we have been talking about mental health for, it seems, until we're blue in the face, talking about how real mental health is, as people have been doing crazy things for the last, last year we had a bunch of crazy things that happened where people were clearly not, flying with a full house for whatever reason. Either they were dealing with PTSD or they had a serious mental issue Or in some cases, maybe they were just pure evil. But nonetheless, in any case, we have been dealing with mental health issues that only get our attention when, as Darren said earlier, a pipe burst. But they simmer for so long. And I think that when we as the country continues to open up, we're going to start to see a lot of pipes bursting, because we're already seeing this uptick in domestic violence, which means we have people who do not know how to deal with their emotions properly, be it the man or the woman who's putting their hands on the other person. Because let's not be foolish and think that it's only men who create who do domestic violence crime. We know that there are women out there who are the perpetrators of domestic violence. The unfortunate thing is that many of the men who are the victims are embarrassed to say anything. So most of the domestic violence crimes that we hear about, it's when it's the man. I mean, obviously the majority are men, but there are a few, women out there who choose to put their hands on men. And then you got ones where they're both putting their hands on each other. And that's a pipe bursting. The rate of people calling into the suicide hotlines around the country. We need to be worried about whether those suicide hotlines can handle the calls, because those calls are going to increase as you think about it. A lot of people are not going to get a job again for a while, and many of those people may not be able to get unemployment, so they are losing it. And if they're not out there, as Darren said, starting to commit crimes because they broke, they could be sitting in their houses, and get inside their heads, and start to blame themselves, or, blame the world, and, think that it would be better off if they're not here. There's a lot of people who are ill-equipped. Just think about when the big short happened in real estate. You had people who committed suicide behind losing their $1 million homes. Their homes going into foreclosure because they, weren't working. And they just checked out of here. Think about now where we have what they think will be the highest unemployment rate since the Great Depression. They're anticipating that it'll be 20%, but that'll only be the people who actually file for unemployment, because those are the only people who they actually count. If you don't file for unemployment and you are not working and are unemployed, you're not even counted in that freaking number. So it's probably going to be higher than 20%. And when people don't, unless you're somebody who just likes to sit around and, doesn't care about being able to take care of yourself and having a job to go to or a job from home or however, it's going to start to mess with a lot of people if, weeks turn into months and they still don't have a job. And nobody in the household has a job. And they're having to fight, to keep the lights on, to keep the gas on, to keep the water on, to keep food in the refrigerator. Not as much within probably, I would say, the Black community does this happen, but in other, groups, some people lose their minds. I mean, it's not going to be like you having people jumping out of buildings like they did in 1929, but you have people who, a man may kill himself and his whole family. These are things that have happened. Things that happened like after The Big Short here in California and in other parts of the country. Or you'll have, man can't take care of his family, so he kills them. Or doesn't want to deal with the family anymore because he can't afford to, because of everything that's happened. I'm telling you, this is going to bring out demons. It really is, because mental health issues, unchecked, it's a spirit, Hey, the underrated darkness. So, I mean, I'm going to be doing some more talking on this. I'm going to probably talk about it, and as it relates to people on the autism spectrum, because although autism itself is not a mental health issue like they like to make it, there are people who have autism who do have mental health issues. They have other things going on, and they just also have autism or diagnosed, or have a neurodiversity, which we call autism. But I'm going to come on here so you guys can see me, because I'm at the hour mark and I'm about to get off of here. I do thank you guys for hanging out with me tonight. But I don't want to keep y'all on here for a long, long time. Let me just come on. Hey everyone, how you guys doing? Thanks again, Darren, for coming up. And Terry, I did get your message, so I'm unless you tell me otherwise, I'm gonna say Wednesday. All right, for that we're gonna be talking about the Palestinian Liberation Organization. That'll be Wednesday. But I'm gonna get ready to get off of here because it's been a long day. I mean, yeah, my YouTube day started at before 7 o'clock this morning, Pacific Coast time. And then, I was on other social media for part of the day because I went to Cyber Church on Facebook. That was good. I told y'all about the message at the beginning of this. If you didn't hear it, you can check it out on the replay. And then I was in other chats, learning a whole lot of stuff, as I told you guys. And then I came here to be with you guys after I had my acting rehearsal. And I will tell you guys more about that and what's going on with that on tomorrow night. Some exciting stuff going on. But until tomorrow, because I got to get up in the morning and go to work early, I offer you guys peace and blessings from the West Side. I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye, everybody.